The Good Sister by Sally Hepworth, and she has another book called The Mother-in-Law, which I'm definitely interested in reading. This one has higher reviews than The Mother-in-Law, but that's like the book that started her career, I guess. So this is a very good book, and I have to say I finished it in about 2 days, and I love the characters. And I actually purchased, so these two books I purchased because I want to have them with me at all times, which I just started doing. And this book is not on paperback yet, it just came out, so the only hardcover is available. So this book is a domestic mystery, domestic thriller, yeah, domestic mystery. So I just learned about this like subtrope called domestic mystery, and I did not know there are so many different tropes within mystery. I thought there was just, thriller, mystery, true crime, but there's also like comfort mysteries. There's apparently domestic mysteries, and I'm sure there's a lot more, but this one is really good. So this one, I don't want to. This is not a spoiler. I don't want to spoil anything. So this is a book about two sisters. One is named Fern, and one is named Rose. And Fern is kind of, I definitely related to this character, so it was definitely easy to keep reading. If like when I relate to a character, I just want to know what happens to him. So her name is Fern. She's kind of like forgetful, kind, sweet. Really just she works as a librarian, which is she loves books just like I do. I definitely related to this character. I felt like she was very similar to me in many ways, so I was like rooting for her. She is forgetful once again, and people my whole life are like, oh, you're forgetful, disorganized, or whatever. She is very structured. Like she starts her day out with yoga, and she always eats the same type of food, which is not like me, but um, she lives on her own, and I believe these two girls are in their late 20s, so they're like 27, 28. And there is like journal entries from her sister Rose. So there's no journal entries from Fern, just journal entries from Rose. And it kind of flashes back a lot to their childhood growing up and how they were raised by their mother. They were raised by a single mother. And Rose talks about that in her diary. So you get to see how they were raised, which could be triggering for some people. There is a lot of abuse and abuse. There is sexual abuse, and there is also mention of like domestic. There's a lot of like abuse that could trigger some people. So I do want to say, if you this trigger warning, this might trigger you. A lot of the stuff was very hard to read. So I just want to let you know this is not the easiest read. There is mention of sexual abuse of minors, and there's mention of domestic abuse as well. Some parts I just had to skip over because I can't read some things. They're just too much. But besides that, I overall think this book is on the lighter side. Besides like those few pieces. So it basically talks about Fern and Rose. Rose is like has everything together. She's like an interior designer. Super like the perfect, like she has everything has a perfect boyfriend, has a house, has a perfect dog, and her boyfriend is currently in London, and she's writing to him. Her boyfriend's name is Owen, and we find out more about that in the book. Really, really good stuff. What's going on with that? And it really goes into the dynamics of sisters and like boundaries and stuff like that, and how like it's hard to create boundaries in family relationships. Um, Basically, it has a huge twist. There's lots of twists and turns, and Fern is, she's kind-hearted, young woman, and she trusts Rose. Rose is kind of like her caretaker in a way. And also another thing with Fern is that she has like sensory issues, so she can't take like too much noise or too much sound, or she gets like overwhelmed and has like panic attacks. And Rose has always been there for her as her protector. And it kind of goes into like boundaries once again, and what like can you take care of yourself, a lot of they're twin sisters. I think they're fraternal twins, not identical. And there's just so many twists and turns. I don't want to spoil anything, but I read this in 2 days. I really recommend it. um, just really, really good. One of the best books I've read in 2021, and yeah, 100% recommend if you like twists, turns, and thrillers. But I do want to say there is some difficult content in here, so I do want to say that trigger warning. that is in here. So love this book. I give this book 5 stars. Next book that is a book I think everybody should read, and I am literally obsessed with. It's called The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. Yeah, so he is just, I haven't read any of his other books. He has many books. I think I have one to check out. It's called How to Be a Human. He's really good at just like bringing out the empathy and sentimentality in humans. This book is amazing, honestly. It's just one of the best books I've ever read. I have to own it because I just, whenever I'm down or depressed or anything, I can read a chapter and it's just enough to get me, back on my feet. That's how good it is. He's just really good at connecting with other humans. Basically, it's about a girl. Her name is Nora. So her name is Nora. She's around my age. She's like 27 or 28, and she wants to kill herself. And she actually does go through with it. She's on antidepressants, and instead of dying, she goes to this place called the Midnight Library, and she meets up with her librarian, Mrs. Elm, and she basically gets to try out a bunch of different lives. And in each life, she sees like pros and cons of what if she did this, if she did that, like how her life would have turned out. There's really good messages in here. Some difficult topics as well. Not like the easiest read for sure. It's trigger warning. There's like suicide and stuff like that. Basically just goes over the human condition and how, our choices impact other people, and how, there's just some really good quotes in here that I just absolutely love, and just such a good, touching book. Just really inspiring, honestly. Like if you're feeling down and you just don't know like where to go in life, like this is a great book to get you kind of inspired again. And like, basically the kind of the overall theme is the only way to like live life is to just live it and just like see what happens, and not to live life with regrets. And we're trying our best, and that's really the premise, but the way that it's portrayed in this book is really, really, really good, because she gets to try out a bunch of lives, and she realizes that, she really likes the life that she has now. It's just that she was living with a bunch of regrets, and I don't want to spoil anything, but she gets to try out like many lives, and this is a book that will definitely stick with you. I had to own it, and I will reread it probably like 3 times a year. This is like an antidepressant in a book, honestly. Like this is really good. Like I think when I become a counselor, I'm going to recommend that everybody read this book to on their reading list. So I hope you guys enjoy this review of those 2 books. I don't want to ruin anything, give any spoilers. Shout out to some books that I kind of am reading. So this is called The Power of Positive Thinking. So I did not realize how religious this book is when I started reading it. So I have stopped reading it. I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. I think a lot of this book can be helpful to people who are not religious, but it's just too religious for me. So I'm going to be DNFing it at this time. I definitely believe that you should definitely believe in a higher power, and that helps a lot with anxiety and positive thinking, but it's just too religious for me to recommend as my top 5 favorite self-help books. But just a lot of mention of religion for my liking. And a book I'm reading a few books currently, but I finally got my hands on Malibu Rising, so I'll let you know what I think about this book, because people are raving about it, and I'm reading it right now. So please like and subscribe if you like this video. Love you guys, and yeah, I appreciate all the support that I get. Bye.